Alright, so let's begin with this build by starting with the motherboard. Well, so first thing is we'll start with the unboxing of the motherboard. Alright, so inside we got this little cardboard box. We have the wireless antenna. That's cool. Alright, next up, let's pull out the motherboard. Take a look underneath. Let's go a little deeper. Pop this box out. And inside we have the manual. Inside the manual, there's a disc. Got a little piece of paper here. Got a little thank you card. And we got some stickers. Let's take a look on the other side. PRM band. Got ourselves, looks like a keychain, an ROG keychain. It looks like one of the thermistors, the temperature sensors. Cable ties. Not sure what that is. I think that might be for the RGB. That looks like an RGB cable. 4 SATA cables. 2 are 90 degrees and 2 are not. RGB. Screws and some mounting. More screws. And these go for the NVMe drive. These are like lifters. Okay, so first things first, let's peel off some of the plastic. Let's get that out of the way so I don't forget to do it later. Alright. So a quick overview of the box, or motherboard. Just so you can check all the pins, make sure there's nothing bent. And then debris. Alright, everything looks pretty dang good. More plastic back here. Oops. Alright, let's do this. Step 1, CPU. So I got a hold of the i9 10th gen. Okay. For starters, pull out, push down. Probably the other way would be easier. And lift up. But that looks like the only way it could fit in there, so I guess it has to be right. So, guess we'll find out here in a second. Yeah. Alright, it looks like it's in there. The next step I want to do, because I still got to do the RAM and I still got to do the CPU cooler, but I kind of want to look in and check out the M.2 slot. So there we got the stick, the NVMe. Okay, and apply it right to the top of this one. Alright. Right here. So now, if I put this in here, I seat it in, and set it down. Now let's replace the cover and the thermal. There we go. Now we just gotta tighten her down. At an angle? Yeah. There we go. Put these screws back on. Okay, there's all that. Alright, CPU cooler? Sure, why not? Alright, so I ended up getting the Cooler Master 212 Evo. Okay, so inside we have this little white box. It's got these two little plastic clips. We got spacers. We got, looks like the mounting bracket. We got some thermal paste and some more hardware. And we got the installation instructions, which are good because I need to know how to do this. I haven't actually looked this one up yet. Step 1. Pull the fan out. Mounting bracket was stuck to the back side. There's the rear back plate. Okay, so first thing, I had to pull this fan off. I just stuck a little piece of my blade under there between the fans to kind of give it a little pop up. Didn't bend nothing. So, something I've noticed is that it doesn't actually say that my particular motherboard's socket type is listed in the instructions, right? But, where's it at? From what I've heard online is you're supposed to go by the 1151 type. Which is fine, except in their version, the 1151, the heatsink and fan is supposed to be positioned in this direction. A top down, which is not what I want. And the only way to rotate it is to rotate, well, first hold on, there's a little dot inside there, right there. Now that dot's important because the bracket, this thing, which goes down like this, has these little notches in it that catch that little dot. But if you have it in the way that they want it, it works. So, for example, they want it like this. Yeah. So if you see, if I put this down like this, the notches will match on both sides, and that'll be able to sit in a this way formation. Now you might be thinking, well, I'll just turn it around. Well, right now, pay attention to this side right here. See how close that is to the RAM? Now, if I was to turn this so that I could turn the whole cooler, you'll now see there's a little bit of overlap. In fact, I even pulled out a stick of RAM to take a look at. Now, mind you, this is not going to be a huge ordeal right this second. But you can see, it's already hitting with the heat shield. But I think I might just go ahead with it because I only have 2 sticks of RAM, and I'm not using that slot right now. So I think that's what we're just going to have to go with. So let's go ahead and put on our thermal paste. Alright, let's finish a little bit here. Tighten these up. Let's go until they're snug and just a hair more. Alright, that's good. Now let's move on to the RAM. So I've already opened up the RAM. Rotate this around a little bit here. I got myself some Ripjaws G-Skill I got two 32 gig modules. I decided that since this should hold up to 128, if I decide to upgrade in the future, which I don't see it happening, but hey, who knows? I might as well start at more than what I have now, which is 32. Alright, so first thing we gotta do, open up the two channels, A2 and B2. Line up our little slot thingamajigger. There we go. Now for the other one. Now we can reinstall the CPU fan. CPU fan right there, okay. So I've decided to wrap it under here like this. So it starts on the one side, comes all the way around the fan, and then it'll get plugged in. Under you. There it goes. Down it's in. Alright, so now that we got the board pretty much set up, it is time to get the case set up. So let's move this out of the way. Alright, so I ended up going with a fractal design. I think this is a G series. Now I went with this one because it was cheap, 60 bucks. The case I originally wanted was the half XB, I think it was. It's the big one, looks like a big box basically. Plastic. But it was sold out, and it kept getting sold out every time I tried to order it. So I just gave up. I said I just need a case now, so I'll order something cheap for now, and then later on I can upgrade again. The one thing I'm not happy particularly about this case, other than the fact that it's kind of small, it doesn't have a lot of room for hard drives. So in here we got some more twist ties, and we got a bunch of screws, and then we got a bunch more screws, and some sort of metal clip in there. That might be for the lock. Alright, so the front I/O. Now, the other thing I don't like about this is it's only got one USB 3.0 port, and the other one's a USB 2.0. We need to set up all the standoffs. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus this one, which is pre-installed, where it comes with a little tool to help you screw them in. Along with the case is I ordered a extra case fan, the Redux 120. Now this is not the one I ordered originally. The original design was I was going to put a second, I was going to install some other fans on the CPU, but they ended up ordering the wrong one, so I'll just end up putting it on the case instead. There we go. 4 screws for the fan. Gotta find the arrows. There we go. There. Tells you the rotation it spins and the direction it pushes. In general, it usually pushes out towards the side that has the brace. Now that the fan is out of the way, we can move on to installing the motherboard. that's in. Plug in the case fan. Alright, so now we got the fan, CPU, the RAM, the NVMEs installed. We got the case fans both hooked up to power. I guess the next step would have to be to start hooking up the power supply. So I ended up going with the RM850X, or the RMX, whichever one you want to go by. Originally not going to go with the X series to save a little bit of money, but they were all sold out. Alright, so inside we have our power cable. Got our rather really thick booklet, important information booklet. More cable ties, and our bag of cables. Now this will be my first fully modular power supply. Oh, that's nice. It's got a gray fan. I kind of like that. Matches the new fan I just installed, sort of. Alright, so the first thing to do, let's go ahead and take off this here back plate. Starting with CPU. Should be this way. Okay. And then for the other one, I only need 4. These ones right here. So we'll take this, slide this in here. Okay. That looks like it's in. Okay, there's that.
Okay, as far as the rest of the cable management goes, this is my build after about a week, doing some adjustments and whatnot. So you'll see that I got the CPU power up there, and I tucked it behind the back. I still got the little extra 4 pins sitting there. I got the graphics card in there with the power for it. This isn't my final one. I'm still waiting on getting one of the new 30 gens. So you can see that there's very little room down here for where the HD audio went, but it fits just fine. Just gotta be careful when you move the CPU. Same with the other wires. There's not a lot of space in here. So you're looking at like a finger's length of space in here. So a lot of this stuff got jammed in. You can see that my 24-pin power did not get routed through the back. In fact, it got routed to the front, then down, then over. I basically did this in such a way that the fans can still push air past it. My actual design for this is to have a panel that goes across right here anyway, so it'll be alright. Okay, so there's the USB hub front port plugged in for 3.0. 2.0 is down there. I got all the little individual pieces for the front, for the HD light, the power button, all that stuff. We circle around here. Take a look at the back. But I ran the 2 of these across here, and they went down. And this had it tucked back across and through the hole. So that all tucks away. The reason I could run the 24-pin is because even if I try to run it through this little slot and back here, the case wouldn't close. So, like I said, I ended up just routing it through the front. The other cables all sit just off to the side, so they lay against the back panel. I had a lot of trouble getting the SATA drive. They want the SATA drive here. But the only way I can figure out how to get the SATA drive to go in here without just setting it here is to mount it to these holes. But you have to take the power supply off to do that. And I'm not doing that. So I ended up sticking it in here. And as you can see, it was a little tricksy because I had to plug it through here. And the cables just don't fit. There's no space on this particular case to run the cables between this little space. It's just not enough space. And it's just bad design. So there's the front of the case. You can see the horn on top. That's where the Wi-Fi is. I have double-sided taped right now. Here's the speaker. I had to take off an old computer. So it obviously doesn't match the case. So eventually when I find another black one, I'll stick that in there. That's the one that beeps when the computer starts. I have to have that. There's my graphics card riser. As you can kind of see, I let this one in my old case for so long without I guess a sag. I think they call it a sag bar. And the thing just drooped so bad that I eventually bought the sag bar. And I put in this case with this one. I took a 760 right now that I had laying around and put that in my old computers. So I'm still using that. Another thing I did, I went ahead and connected up the RGB that you can see right there, which runs in here. Right now it's all just tucked in here. I'm still working on trying to find some more cables and whatnot. But let's see if you can see it. You'll see a bar up there. I took a metal stripping, attached a sticky side of some LED strips onto it, and I screwed that into a couple of the fan holes to hold it up there. That way it's easy to remove. And then I also took some zip ties to hold the LED strip up, because you can see it's kind of unsticking. And that's what I was worried about, because I didn't want to stick it up there and have it fall off. I'm going to end up getting some magnetized ones, but for now this will work. Here's the case turned on. One thing I hadn't realized originally was that the front lights are white, and they're not PWM. So as the fans speed up and speed down, the dimness changes. I'll eventually change those out. You can see I got the LED strip on top. You're not actually seeing the strip. You're seeing the reflection on the bezel, which creates a cool little effect. I have it set to purple for right now. I'm going to have other LEDs to put in there later. That red light on the bottom left, that's the Q code indicator. I haven't turned it off yet. Not ability. One thing I don't like is that when you shut this down, the white LEDs on the graphics card stay on. And another thing is you can't change the strict lighting. Although you can change it, but it's got a built-in default breathing mode. So it's one of those things, like, because I mess with it now, when I game it speeds up a little bit. I'll fix it when the next thing comes out. Yeah, that's what she looks like.